good evening and welcome to the Roar Rundown Sports Podcast. I'm Chris Gay. This is At Cloud, and you might recognize a new face, maybe new. Jeremiah Turner is going to be joining us, and we're going to be rotating around. So you'll see I'll still be the consistent face. I got to handle all the technical stuff here, but everybody else is going to be kind of switching around. So Jeremiah, thank you for being with us.
Yes, sir, glad to be here.
Well, we're going to go ahead and jump right in to everything. So now that we're getting down towards the middle of the semester, a lot of basketball has just finished up. We'll cover that in a minute. But swimming also finished up, and we mentioned last week the swim and dive teams placed second to last in their championship or their semifinal or whatever the tournament they were in, which was not what they wanted to place, obviously. But some individual swimmers did get to, with some of their times, they're now qualifying for the 2024 NCAA Division II championships. Dee Christensen, she qualified in the 100 butterfly. Zambor Budoza, I should have rehearsed that, I'm sorry, qualified for the 200 and 400 individual medleys and the 200 breaststroke. He also ranks 11th in the country in the 400 individual medley. Elijah Christensen qualified in the 200 butterfly and the 200 freestyle, the 1,000 freestyle, and ranks 5th in the country in the 200 butterfly. Carson Powers qualifies in the 1 meter and 3 meter dive. Now, he just qualifies in the NCAA qualifiers. He has to do well in the qualifiers, make a good enough score so he can move on to the championship. And then Miles Schultz qualified in the 100 and 200 breaststroke, ranks 9th in the country in the 200 breaststroke and 11th in the 100 breaststroke. So we're going to have some Tigers that are going to be representing us at the championships. Excited to see that. Now, on Tuesday, Ouachita baseball was in a series against Arkansas Monticello, and actually that was over the weekend, but on Tuesday they played against Delta State, where they would lose 6-11 at home. Definitely not what they wanted. Weston talked about it last week. They used these midweek games to get the freshmen involved. Didn't exactly happen the way that they had hoped, but they would be able to bounce back later during the weekend. They would lose on Friday to Arkansas Monticello, but they would win the next two games by a combined score of 11-2 on Saturday to win the series against Monticello. Nice win for the Tigers, especially since they were kind of getting slow into the conference slate. But we had basketball, had their senior nights, both men and women, on Thursday against Southern Arkansas. Now, were all three of us there at the women's game?
I think so. Yes, sir.
That was a storybook ending, and Ouachita was only honoring two seniors, and Grayson Williams and Mackenzie Schulmuller. And Williams has been a consistent role player for this team. Schulmuller has not really been in a consistent role on the court. Off the court, she calls herself the mom of the team, and she's been that vocal leader that every team has to have, Yeah. And this was her last game at home. She had family and friends that were behind our broadcast table, and they were cheering her on. And at some point during the fourth quarter, Ouachita was up by 9-10 points, and everybody started chanting, "We want Mac. Yeah. We want Mac."
It was time to put her in.
It was time to put her in. And for the final 10-11 seconds of the game, Coach Dallimore finally caught a break in the action and put her into the ball game. Good Lord. Not a soundproof room. Jeez. Anyway, Jeremiah, I mean, that was great because, she was only in for 10 seconds. You typically wouldn't think, she's not getting the ball.
Man, we have been cheering since the game hit the 2-minute mark, man.
Yeah.
We looked up. They were up by 11, 48 seconds left, and we were like, clearly he's going to put her in. The time kept winding down. We were like, oh, my gosh, is he not going to put her in? And we just kept chanting louder. The student sections, which we split across the gymnasium, the student section we have, are betas and rows that sit down there at the far end, and then the football team sits here, volleyball team sit there. We all were yelling all across the gym, "We want Mac. We want Mac." She finally checked in. Oh, my goodness. We already erupted then. And then after she hit the three-point shot, we wanted to storm the court like there was no tomorrow, but if there was 1.1 seconds left, and we didn't want to get them guys a tech, so we waited till after the game to congratulate. But the atmosphere was ecstatic. I loved it. And
yeah, it was one of the best atmospheres that we had seen at Bill Vining all year long. Probably second that to the Henderson game.
Yes.
And even though they lost that game, that was still a great atmosphere. But yeah, she hit a shot with 1 second on the clock. Oh, it was straight cash. As soon as it left her hand, it was a great shot. But what a way to end your senior night. I mean, that's got to be a moment she's always going to remember. But she got barraged by her teammates after, and when they did the Tiger Walk, big celebration. So it was just great to see her go through that. But Zach, obviously we did get the win, and Schumuller's shot was the exclamation point or the cherry on top. But from the stat standpoints, we were going to win this ball game.
Oh yeah, we played a really solid game. We shot 54% from the field, 45% from the three-pointer, and 93% from the free throw. So those are all outstanding splits. And we also won the rebound battle 32-25. And some of our girls that had some individual performances, Madeline Tipton, she went off. She had a career high of 35 points, and she knocked down 6 three-pointers for us. Grayson Fairless, she had 15 points and 6 rebounds. Lainey Mears, she was all over the place. She had 8 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals. Joey Babel, she did what she always does. She had 4 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. And then Grayson Williams, she tacked on 4 points and an assist and a steal. But, yeah, I'd say the highlight of the night was probably at the very end whenever Mac, she came in and hit that three-pointer. That was probably the loudest I'd ever heard the arena.
Yeah, that was a great moment. And, of course, Ouachita walks away with a 12-point lead, win. But that game was really important, and we'll get into it just a second, because Ouachita had been maybe on a 4-game losing streak, and their chances of making the conference tournament were on the line, and they had to get that win because Southern Arkansas was ahead of them in the rankings by maybe 2 spots, I think. So that bumped them down and bumped the Tigers up, but they needed one more win, and they would have to look for it on Saturday. But sticking with Thursday, the men played in their senior night as well, but they would lose 64-88 against the Mule Riders, and it was not a pretty game at all. Coach Nutt had some stuff to say about the game, and we'll get to that in just a second. But Jeremiah, just looking at the stats,
like looking at the stats, we know that we didn't shoot well. We shot 39.7% from the floor, and we were 28.1% from three-point percentage, and that's just a testament to how the game went if you were there in person. It seemed like we couldn't find a rhythm at all, even though some of our better shooters just couldn't get into a rhythm. And furthermore, we allowed too many second-chance points, and we forced a good amount of turnovers, though, from the other team, but we were still out-rebounded. SAU had us 20-50. Being out-rebounded, which is a crazy margin.
That's probably about one of the largest margins I've ever seen on the boards.
Oh my gosh! And only 7 rebounds in the first half. That's
even so. We still did have a couple guys who performed pretty well on that night. Emory Knox, he had 22 points, 4 rebounds, shot 7 of 11 from the field, and then 6 of 8 from 3-point. So he still did what he typically does. And Tyler Haynes also had a good game with 18 points, 4 rebounds, 4 steals, and shot 8 of 11 from the field. But it just really wasn't enough to get the job done on that night.
No, it wasn't, but we still got – Tyler still had a pretty nice send-off in his last game with Ouachita. He had 18 points. But, again, going back, we lost on the boards. I know we couldn't get into a rhythm, but we lost on the boards because, we had 7 rebounds as a team in the first half. The Mule Riders had 10 offensive rebounds in the first half alone. And they had like 30-something in the first half. It wasn't pretty.
And a lot of our production from the boards comes from Tyler, who's one of our only guys leaving next year. So we're definitely going to have a big void to fill next year because, like, a few weeks ago he hit his, 1,000th point for us. So
he had
like a 1,000-point score and our best rebounder graduating. So we're definitely going to have to look for ways to fill that hole next season. Yeah,
we will. And losing also Marvin Williams-Dunn and Kobe Dunlap, who've been with the program for 4 years and have been consistent role players, and both at the guard position. But personally, and I know they play again on Saturday, but they had to win this game if they wanted any sliver of a chance to make it into the tournament. It was going to be improbable because they were sitting at last place, and they just had to hope and pray that everybody ahead of them were going to lose games. But I think we can talk about it now. Coach Nutt loves the transfer portal. He's got to go out like he did with Roland Belton. He found him in the portal, and Tyler Haynes was a JUCO guy before that. He's got to get size. Yeah. That's what he has to get. I mean, I know, and before I say his words for him, we'll go ahead and take a look at what what Coach Nutt said about the game.
Yeah, I know this was a rough game. It's an up and down season, and I know that the tournament hopes have gone and have went and gone, but there's got to be some stuff that you can look at, not just from this game, but from the season here at home that you can look fondly upon.
Sure. We had some pretty decent wins throughout the year. The Henderson games were good for us. Disappointing tonight. I hate it for the seniors. I want them to go out and a little bit better fashion than that. Appreciate the fans hanging around. I don't blame them for kind of sneaking out early. That wasn't first half was just lackluster effort on our part. I was kind of disappointed with our guys. But that's when you got to reach down deep for pride. We know we're not in the tournament, but you still have 2 home games to play. So that's the part I was most disappointed about. But hey, we got one more to play. Still got to kind of work through some things and keep building. That's what we're trying to do.
Only 7 rebounds in the first half, not at all what you or any coach would like to see. But what can you do better, or what can the team do better going into the next game against Arkansas Monticello and trying to fix up what you can do on the rebound goals?
Defense is effort, or rebounding is effort. And you have to really go at it. You got to have a mindset to go in there, and we were lacking in that first half. We kind of stood around and watched, and that's not going to get it done. And they're a very good rebounding team, and they took advantage of our weakness there. But part of it, you got to keep working. Got to get guys that that can go in there and really fight a little tougher than what we're showing right now.
Well, Tyler Haynes, Marvin Williams Dunn, and Kobe Dunlap, you're only seniors on this roster. What have they meant, not just to the team, but what have they meant to you as a coach, being able to coach them, Marvin and Kobe for 4 years and Tyler for 3?
Well, this day and age of the portal, a 4-year guy is kind of rare. Right. So it was fun to have these guys that long, and man, they put a lot of sweat in on this floor and done some really good things. I know their senior year didn't happen the way they wanted it to go, but they're going to be very successful in life, and they're going to get out of here and make, they're going to be a part of a good family and make good decisions and live their lives.
Well, Coach, you guys, this is the last time we'll see you this season here at home. What can fans hope next season as you guys will be coming into a new season in Bill Vining Arena? Yeah,
we'll obviously have some new pieces on board, and we'll take some of the guys that are coming back and build on that. We got some pretty good pieces, but there's still a lot more we need to get. But I want to thank you guys. I know this is your last year, and you guys are going to be very successful. Y'all do a great job for us, and I just want to thank you guys for being with us all year, and y'all do a super job. With Dr. Babb and you guys y'all are big time, and we got fans all over the country watching this, so appreciate you guys and what you do.
Well, Coach Nutt, it has been an honor and a privilege being able to talk to you after every game. And, hey, good luck next season.
Appreciate it, guys.
I appreciate it.
All right.
So, yeah, didn't play with a lot of effort. That's what he talked about. And, hopefully we'll get to see that next season. I'm actually pretty interested in what we're going to be able to produce because, we're losing 3 key guys. But, I don't know, he always brings in decent guys from the portal. I mean, Emory Knox, Reggie Martin, Taryn Williams, all those guys coming from the portal. So, we'll see. Now, softball, they played also against Arkansas Monticello, like baseball did. They played at home, and they would lose. Actually, no, they played in Monticello. My mistake. Now they would lose the series 1-2, but they finally got their first conference win of the season. They got it on Saturday, where they won 12-8, but they would lose on Friday 4-7 and 5-13. In that first game, Hope Johnson started to make a name for herself. Was pretty much the one player doing everything for that team. She had a home run, 2 runs overall, a hit, 2 RBIs, a walk, and a stolen base. Bailey King had a run, 2 hits, and a stolen base. She's been great as a freshman. I think she's a freshman, if not sophomore. Erin Williams had a hit and 2 RBIs. Kendall Fomby-Bell had a run. In that second game, they would lose again, but Erin Williams had a home run, a hit, 2 RBIs. Remington Adams also had a home run, 2 runs overall and 2 hits, and an RBI. Bailey King had a run, a hit, and a stolen base, and then Hope Johnson had a run and a walk. And then on Saturday in that win, Erin Williams, no home runs in this game, but she had 2 runs on her own with a hit, 1 RBI, 2 walks. Caitlin Province had a run, a hit, 3 RBIs, and 2 walks. Remington Adams had a run, a hit, 2 RBIs. Emily Reed had 2 runs, 1 hit, and 1 walk. And overall for the team, pretty solid offensive output. We had 10 hits as a team. So pretty nice performance, especially for a team that's really been struggling so far this season. Now, men's tennis, they would finally get out of the rut they were in. They played in a top 20 battle between against Mississippi College, and it was at their house, and Ouachita came in number 20 in the country, the Choctaws number 17, and they would win 4-1 again in Clinton, Mississippi. Now, we played well in both doubles and singles. Exner Blanchard, their duo, they won their doubles match, and so did Doctors and Strassman. And then Blanchard, Exner, Dr. Strassman, and Buss all won their singles matches. Women's tennis, they would also be playing on the road, and they had a dominant weekend. They would win 8-1 against Rhodes College in Memphis. They would also beat Lane College in Memphis later on, but we'll cover that in a second. But Crocker, won all 3 doubles matches. It was Crocker, Calderova, Zamora Capriolo / Telescu, and then the tandem of Gaston and Davalos were all part of those doubles wins. Then Crocker, Calderova, Zamora, Capriolo, Telescu, and Davalos all won singles matches, only losing 1 singles match overall. Now, wrestling. Their season overall is over, but the team went to the NCAA Super Region 4 tournament in Indianapolis on Saturday, where they would play 6 of 10 teams. And we did have somebody that is going to be representing Ouachita in the National Wrestling Championships, and that's going to be Jimmy Anderson. He placed 3rd in the 133 bracket, and it earns him a trip, like I said, to the National Championships, which will be March 17th through the 16th in Wichita, Kansas at Hartman Arena. And so if you ever find yourself in Kansas, maybe go check that out. But definitely wishing Anderson all the best. And we still had some guys that performed well that did not make it to Nationals. Jalen Otero and Donald Paul, they made it, and they were expected to move on, but they lost their 3rd place matches, so they did not qualify for Nationals. Brooks Shermshire, he finished 5th in his category, and then Hudson Herring, Sam Schmidt, Will Wilson all posted wins in their brackets. Now, like I said, women's tennis, another dominant win. They beat Lane College, still in Memphis, 7-0 on Saturday. And again, all 3 doubles matches, all 6 single matches were won, and we got to see a couple different names. Davalos paired with Gallert Polo, and Bledsoe paired with Allie Mae in the doubles, and then Bledsoe, May, and Gallert Polo all won their singles matches. So, also this weekend, it's been a busy weekend, but and now this is a new sport that opened up this season. It is women's and men's outdoor track and field. They opened their season at the Hendricks Invitational at Hendricks College in Conway, and both the women's and the men's squads had really successful opening matches. And were you there for? I know you were there. Were you there for the women's and the men's, or just the men's?
I was only able to watch the men's.
Okay, just go and talk about that.
But Yeah, our girls and our guys, like you said, they both ran great this weekend. But yeah, for our girl, we'll go ahead and start with our girls. We set 7 new records, and one of those being Anna Woolsey. She set a OBU record in the 400 meter and the 200 meter. And then Izzy Bro, she won the 1500 meter and set a new school record while she did that. Belle Lindsay, she set a OBU record in the 100-meter hurdles, and she placed second in the 400-meter hurdles, and she only finished behind a D1 runner because at this meet we had some, not just D2 schools, but also some D1 schools competing against us. We had a team win the 4x1 relay and also set a school record, and that consisted of Adriana Gray, Belle Lindsay, Rachel Dunn, and Anna Woolsey. And then Rachel Dunn, she also won the triple jump and set a new school record distance. And she also beat out other GAC opponents, including Southwestern Oklahoma State University. Brindley Leonard set a OBU record in shot put, and she placed 4th, only behind D1 opponents. And Macy Cash won the 3,000 meter. And we had a relay squad of Belle Lindsay, J.C. McGregor, Anna Woolsey, and Lainey White, who won the 4x4. And then we also had 2 teams come behind them. So in 2nd and 3rd place, we had Zoe Carter, Ellie Homan, Alexis Perry, and Ashley Dillman. And then in 3rd place, we had Elise Knight, Izzy Bro, Megan Monk, and Lucy Holden. So lots of production, lots of girls running well in that meet. And then right behind them for the guys, we also had some guys set some new PRs. Caden Callahan, he won the 110 hurdles and the 400-meter hurdles. Jalen Bako, he won the 3,000 meter. Wet Lawrence won the 5,000 meter. Xander Nagley, he won the 800 meter. And we had MJ Ryman compete in pole vault, and he won that. So we had some great performances, and not just the girls, but also in the guys.
Yeah.
We both did really well at Hendricks this weekend.
Pretty good weekend for sure.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of a good weekend, Ouachita women's basketball might have had the best weekend out of all the teams because they would win against Arkansas Monticello at their house in overtime, 84-83 on Saturday. And even better than this, their last game of the season, they would clinch the 7th spot in the Great American Conference tournament, which is something that at times during the season seemed improbable because I think it was like 2 different stretches. They were on a 4 or 5 game losing streak, and most teams would, just say, that's a wrap, and just be done. But nope, they continued on, and so now we'll be playing Harding in the opening round. And while I'm thinking of it, my program director had sent me a message of all the of the bracket, the final bracket for the entire tournament. So the first game will be the way that it's set up it's kind of confusing, but the first women's game will be at 2:15 p.m. on Thursday, and that will be Harding versus Ouachita Baptist. And before that game, and I don't think I'll have it uploaded by the time this podcast is uploaded, I might have a link, but I'm also doing some work for the Ouachita News Show, and I'm doing my first sports package, and it's going to be on Coach Dallimore and the Tigers, and as they're preparing for the conference tournament and their opening round. So, of course, we'll see how that goes. For most colleges, basketball season has come to a close, but for Ouachita's women's basketball team, they're not quite ready for their season to be over. When you walk into Bill Vining Arena, you can hear balls bouncing, coaches calling out plays, and fans cheering. But not today, because the Tigers are on their way to Shawnee, Oklahoma to face the Harding Bisons in the first round of the Great American Conference Tournament. The Tigers are coming in as the 7th seed in the tournament, and most people might count them out, as they're set to face the number 2 seed. But this team is confident in their abilities.
It's just the same game as any other games. There will be a crowd. It is a conference tournament, but at the end of the day, it's just a game.
It has been a rough year for the Tigers, finishing the regular season with an 11-15 overall record and a 9-13 conference record. Despite all the challenges, Madeline Tipton, who was just selected to the All-GAC Honorable Mention team, finds the squad's performance throughout the season encouraging.
But I think we've gone through a lot of growth throughout this year. Throughout the year, we've had a lot of close games, and luckily here towards the end we've learned how to finish them.
Tiger head coach Robert Dallimore has also been proud of the way his team has performed in the games leading up to the tournament.
We were in an elimination game on Thursday. We were in an elimination game on Saturday. And to be down double digits and to be down 7 with about 3 minutes left on Saturday. And then down 5 in overtime with 2 minutes and 10 seconds left. Says a lot about the character of our girls.
This team is young, with only 4 upper-class women on the roster. But junior guard Lainey Mears, the newest member to Ouachita's 1,000-point club, has been encouraged by this team's ability to pick each other up and to encourage her to keep going.
Even though sometimes shooting-wise this year hasn't been great or as good as last year, my teammates always lift me up and tell me, like, next shot you're going to do good, like this, that, and the third. So I feel like that really gets me going, and knowing that I've worked on my game to score other ways because I knew I'd be guarded as a three-point shooter, so I think that's helped.
The Tigers lost both games this year to the Bisons and even lost to them last year in the tournament. But Coach Dallimore remains optimistic.
To say, well, Harding's tough for everybody. So we're just going to have to play our A game. If we play our A game and we can take them off of their game, then I like our chances.
Harding is well known for their towering front court, which features 6'4" Sage Holly, a former GAC Player of the Year and GAC First Teamer. Despite the size disadvantage, sophomore center Grayson Fairless does not shy away from the challenge.
I didn't spend all this time in the summer and in the preseason and during season to not work hard and to not show what I can do. For me, I don't see her as some huge girl, whatever. I don't see it as a mismatch. I just see it as an assignment that I have to go in there and get done.
Heading into this game, they know what is at stake.
You either win and keep playing or you lose and go home, so we have to just stick to the big game plan and play together.
Winning this game will not be easy, but Coach Dallimore has watched this team make strides all season long, and he believes in his squad.
When we had to win, and the back was up against the wall, and all of the challenges that we went through, what I always tell them is just keep working and win the day. And if you keep doing that, in the end, you'll be rewarded.
It might have been a long road to make it to the GAC tournament, but the Tigers know they deserve to be here, and they expect nothing less than an opening round victory. For the Ouachita News Show, I'm Chris Gay. Best of luck to those Tigers. Still the women's bracket, you will have number 1 Southern Nazarene. They're going to be playing against Oklahoma Baptist, who's the 8th seed. And then after that, it will be Henderson State and Arkansas Tech, because Henderson's 4, Tech's 5. And then it's going to be Northwestern Oklahoma State and Southwestern Oklahoma State, 3 and 6. So it'll be really interesting to see how that plays out. But Jeremiah, just looking at the box score, we didn't have the best shooting performance, but it didn't matter because we played and we scored points when we needed to, especially on the fast break.
Right. So, yeah, look, like you said, we didn't have the best shooting night. We shot 31.9% from the field and 79.2% from the free throw, which is almost 80. So when we got trips to the line, we made them count. And 26 fast break points, which that is
It's pretty good.
Pretty good amount. We were definitely running and gunning them on that night. And we out rebounded UAM 41-36, which is not a big margin, but those rebounds most likely played a big factor in getting the win because this game did go to OT. Also, we shot 50% in the second half, which is good. So we increased our field goal percentage from the first half, and we only allowed 45% from 3 for the opposing team. Some of the big players on that night would be Lainey Mears. She had 23 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and shot 7 of 17 from the floor. Madeline Tipton with 20 points. She had 3 rebounds as well, 2 steals, and shot 7 of 20 from the field, and 5 of 12 from three-point range. And Grayson Fairless had an astounding game, 19 points, 14 rebounds, double-double for her. Joy Babel also contributed to the game. We're putting up 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 8 assists, and shooting 5 of 9 from the field on that night. So good game, good win for the Lady Tigers, and I'm so glad they clinched a spot in the tournament. I can't wait to see what they do with that opportunity.
Yeah, should be great. Now, of course, it was also the last game of the season for the men. They didn't have their best game, and we'll just cover it real quickly. But they lost at Monticello 54-65. And again, they did not shoot well. they were still out-rebounded by Monticello, and I don't know what happened, but on the box score it showed that 3 of our players got technical. So I don't know what that was about. But regardless, it may have been some frustrations. You're already eliminated from playoffs or from the tournament. Last game of the season, maybe some trash talk your way, who knows. But regardless, it was a nice send-off for Tyler Haynes, having a double-double in his last game with Ouachita of 20 points, 10 rebounds. Then you had MJ Leslie, 12 points, shot 4 or 5 from 3. But then and Marvin Williams had a nice game of 8 points. But everybody else just really wasn't having that great of a game. Reggie Martin had 7 points. Then Kobe Dunlap in his last game just had 2 points. So not particularly the best game, especially coming off a bad loss at home. But, again, we'll see what they have next year. Yeah. We'll see. Now we'll get into our Tiger Prowl preview. So baseball, they host Henderson State on Tuesday, and by the time this comes out, there'll already be a box score for that on obutigers.com. But Henderson is 10-9 on the season, 5-4 in the Great American Conference. They are 3-1 when they're playing on the road. Not typically your typical road game, as they're just right across the street. So it's you hardly even call it a road game, but regardless, they'll be at 2 p.m. Now, softball, on Tuesday, they will travel to face Mississippi College in a doubleheader at 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. Mississippi College only lost 3 games on the season. Women's basketball, of course, like I said, they will play in the opening round on Thursday against Harding in Shawnee, Oklahoma. That's where Fire Lake Arena is at 2:15 p.m. Ouachita softball, they play a series against Arkansas Tech at home on Friday and Saturday, and Tech is pretty solid on the year, 11-5. That will be 3 p.m. on Friday, noon, and 2 p.m. on Saturday. Ouachita baseball plays their series against Arkansas Tech Friday through Saturday. It will also be it'll be 6 p.m. on Friday, 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. on Saturday. Women's tennis, they will host the Riverhawks of Northeastern State on Saturday at 10 a.m. They're pretty solid, only lost 1 game on the year, but it was a road game. And then they'll host on the next day, on Sunday, Northwest Missouri State, who's also pretty dang good. They've yet to lose a game this season, 6-0 so far, and that will be at 2 p.m. Then men's tennis for last game of the coming week. They will host Northwest Missouri State on Sunday at 1 p.m., and they're pretty solid as well. Well, I know that we're going to be cutting off in here just a minute, but I'd be remiss if I didn't ask about how spring camp has been going for Ouachita football. How is it going?
So we officially start spring practice tomorrow, putting the helmets back on, putting our little Z clothes back on. Won't be in full pass until this weekend on Saturday. But it's been going great, man. The training, Coach Flash, our strict coach, he's been giving us a great routine these couple of weeks as we've been getting ready to prepare to put the pads back on. These workouts we've been doing, I'm not going to lie, have been kind of stressing me out. But they have definitely been pulling some good stuff out of me and the younger guys in the program, getting them adjusted to what it is being a Tiger, because they get here in the fall and they just see the season and the bright lights. Now they see what it takes to get to that point. Because even though we fell short last year at 9-2, we plan on getting back to more dominant season like we had 2 years ago, being 11-0 and trying to make a playoff run, and now they're getting to see what it takes in the offseason. So I'm prepared. I'm so excited for tomorrow, and I can't wait till we just start popping again, man. But it's going great.
It was a great – I mean, this season was a great season. I mean, when you lose 2 games and that's like a down year, that says something about the program.
Yeah, that's just a testament to the culture that you've kind of set as a program. So.
Yeah, but I know you guys have brought in 30-something freshmen. Have any of them been have come to campus early or?
So that process with the guys we just signed, none of them will be here till the summer.
Okay.
But a lot of those guys are going to come early. Like the latest report date, of course, is August when fall camp starts. But most of those guys will come a little earlier, whether it's in July or some of us, like older guys, will be here in May. We'll go home for maybe a week or so, and we'll be here the whole time training to get ready for this upcoming season. So I can't wait to meet those young guys, and even the young guys we have now that are about to step into some roles, because we got some seniors leaving and things like that. It's going to be great in the summer. It's going to be a big time to grind, and I can't wait to get to that grind with those young guys.
So I've heard the broadcast when Rex Nelson, Dr. Reed are calling it, they will sometimes call you a big receiver, and I was like, dude, it's a tight end. But what are you classified as?
So,
are you a tight end or wide receiver?
So as it's listed on the roster, I'm still listed as a wide receiver.
Okay.
But last spring, we created a new position. It's not a tight end. It's not a receiver. It's not a fullback. It's a kind of a mixture of all three. I can line up anywhere on the field, whether it's a hand in the dirt attached to the line like an O-lineman, or in a 2-point attached to a tackle, or in the slot, or even on the outside. It's kind of a flex position. It really has no name.
So you'd say you kind of like our utility player.
Kind of a utility player.
Do a little bit of everything.
Do a little bit of everything for sure.
Well, you had a career year this past year. I know that meant a lot to you, being able to get out there and play a lot and do a lot for the program.
Man. So I have been, in years past, I've started on pretty much all of the special teams, and I've even played a good amount of downs when I was just strictly a receiver. But I wasn't involved as far as like in the stats. Like I wasn't helping in that way. So this past season, they kind of tossed the ball around to me a little bit, and every time I got it, I was able to make something out of it and really help the team in that way, put points on the board too. And so it was amazing to me because, I scored and caught my first pass, scored my first touchdown as a collegiate athlete, so that was amazing. But just being able to help the team was good as well. So, yeah, it was. I plan on doing even more this year. So.
Well, good. We definitely hope so. But, so we're going to call it right there. But actually, before I do that, got to always end it this way. What is the best thing you guys have seen all week?
Best thing all week.
I guess I'd have to say honoring the seniors, in basketball.
Yes,
we
that was pretty good.
Honoring guys and girls basketball teams. And then also they did the cheerleaders at halftime, so I guess maybe not leave them out.
Well, that part, halftime.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what was going on, but we had a student versus faculty game.
Yes, that was amazing.
That was very good to see. One of our coaches even participated in it. And he made a shot in the first game at halftime during the girls' game. In the second game, it's kind of flat. But it was great to see the staff like Dean Rogers and Coach Thompson, as I was just talking about, and Professor Motley, I think.
Motley,
from the
yeah.
music department was even out there.
Chris Babb.
Chris Babb. yeah. I'm not going to lie, he let me down a little bit. But it was good to see him out there as well, participating with the students, and that was very good.
Yeah, I'll have to throw up some clips of that if I haven't already. But, yeah, that was great. Now, the best thing – that's a pretty good answer. Now, also that same night, it was technically my senior night for basketball broadcasting. It's always been my sport, and it is my last OBU basketball game, or it was on Thursday. So our production crew had a really nice send-off for me, and also Chase Hartzell. It was his last basketball game. Of course, we have softball and baseball, but that's what the rest of the semester is going to be like for us. It's just going to be those sports, and I usually do softball, he does baseball. So but it was as far as we know, is our last broadcast like ever together, and for the last couple of years really developed a chemistry and did really well on the air. So but it was a really nice send-off. So that was really that whole day, especially for the women's game, really just a whole day for me, that was something special. And the fact the NFL Combine happened, and we have a new 40-yard dash record.
That was insane.
Xavier Worthy, 4.21. He initially tied it with the unofficial time of 4.22, and then they made it official with 4.21. So that was pretty great.
I'm going to say, this draft, those guys were blazing anyway at every position. I think we saw a D lineman run a 4.4 this year.
Yeah.
It's insane how fast every position on the field is getting. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be out there with those guys. I love playing the sport, but seeing a D lineman running at you running a 4.4 as a tight end, yeah, that's a little scary.
Well, that's why you're in a flex position, because you don't have to be in that spot.
Right. I don't have to be there.
But probably a good thing you're not a quarterback, because it'd be like, I'll just go ahead and fall on my back. Just don't touch me. Yeah. Anyway, but thank you all for tuning in to the 21st episode of the Roar Rundown Sports Podcast. I'm Chris, this is Zach, and Jeremiah. Thank you for joining us. Have a good evening, and go Tigers.